Okay, so you look around today and it feels like we're surrounded by passionate beliefs, right? Deep divisions. It makes you wonder, how do we stop our best ideas from turning into our worst weapons? Today, we're diving into the work of a philosopher who wrestled with this very problem his entire life, Leszek Kołakowski. We're going to treat his ideas like a toolkit, something practical for navigating these crazy times. Yeah, that one question, that paradox, it was the engine for Kolakowski's entire career. I mean, he saw it with his own eyes, how these beautiful, inspiring visions for a better world could just curdle, how they could become rigid, oppressive, and downright dangerous. So the real question is, how do you hold on to your convictions without letting them hold you captive? And to really get at the answer, you've got to understand the man himself. See, Kolakowski wasn't some ivory tower armchair philosopher. Not at all. His thinking was literally forged in the fires of 20th century history, which honestly makes him the perfect guide for this whole discussion. Just look at this timeline. It tells an incredible story of transformation. Right after World War II, Kolakowski was a true believer. He joined the Polish United Workers' Party, totally embracing Marxist idealism. But then, the cracks started to show. First, in '56, he saw the violent crushing of the Hungarian Revolution, and that sparked his first real disillusionment. Then, in '68, he witnessed the same thing happen to student protests in his home country of Poland. These moments forced him to look in the mirror, to confront the brutal reality of the system he'd once defended. It all led to him publicly breaking with the party and being forced into exile. And this quote, wow, it just perfectly sums up the massive lesson he learned from all that. He realized that the greatest threat isn't just some dictator, it's any idea, any system that says we have all the answers, so stop asking questions. Okay, so if that's the problem, what was his solution? Well, his philosophy isn't just abstract stuff. You can actually think of it as a practical toolkit. He gave us 3 essential keys, 3 tools to help keep our own minds from slamming shut. All right, key number 1, his take on utopianism. Now, Kolakowski wasn't against dreaming big. He argued that dreaming of a better world is absolutely essential. It's what pushes us forward, right? It drives progress. But, and this is a huge but, there's a catch. The second that beautiful dream turns into a rigid, non-negotiable blueprint for society, that's when it becomes incredibly dangerous. And to explain this, he came up with this fantastic metaphor. He said a utopia should be like a compass. A compass gives you a direction, right? It points you toward an ideal. It gives you a sense of which way is north. But here's the crucial part. It should never be a detailed map that dictates every single turn you have to take. Because a map doesn't allow for detours. It doesn't account for new information or for the messy, unpredictable reality of the world. And his own words here just nail it. It's such a powerful way to think about it, isn't it? It's a reminder to stay aspirational, but also stay flexible. The goal is to keep the vision alive, but lose the rigid, unthinking dogma. Okay, on to the second key in his toolkit, what he called the spirit of inquiry. And this one sounds simple, but it is totally radical. It's the commitment to constantly question, well, everything. But especially, and this is the really hard part, our own most deeply held beliefs. You see, for Kołakowski, no idea, no matter how great it seemed, could be put up on a pedestal where you couldn't touch it or critique it. He believed that the second you stop questioning a belief, it stops being a living, breathing idea, and it starts to harden into dogma. It's basically intellectual humility in action. And I just love this quote. It's so poetic, but it gets right to the heart of his philosophy. It tells you that doubt isn't about being cynical or negative. No, for him, doubt was the very thing that kept thought alive. It's what gave it depth and nuance and humanity. It's the engine of real understanding. All right, the third and final key. This one's a little more complex, but it is so relevant for our time. It's about secularism versus faith. Kołakowski warned that even secular, rational worldviews can become their own form of rigid dogma. He saw that just tossing out religion doesn't magically solve our deep, fundamental human need for meaning. His point was that, look, rationality is an incredibly powerful tool, but it can't answer every question. It especially struggles with the big ones, questions about purpose, about morality, about our place in the cosmos. He believed that the language of faith, even if you're not a believer, can still offer really valuable ways to talk about these profound parts of the human experience. This insight is just so sharp. It completely flips a common assumption on its head. He's saying that the secularist worldview isn't some neutral default, it's based on its own core belief, the idea that reason and science are the only valid ways of knowing anything. And Kołakowski challenged us to question that assumption too. So where does this all leave us? How do we pull this all together? Well, Kołakowski's work isn't just some history lesson. It's a living, breathing guide for today. He wanted us to stop focusing on finding all the final answers, and instead, to keep the most important questions alive. So what's the takeaway from this toolkit? First, use your ideals as a compass, never a rigid map. Second, embrace that spirit of inquiry by constantly questioning your own beliefs. And third, recognize that even pure rationalism can become a dogma if unchecked. At the end of the day, all these ideas point back to one core principle: judge ideas by their real-world impact on human dignity. In our age of echo chambers and absolute certainty, these principles are more urgent than ever. And this leaves us with Kołakowski's final, powerful charge. His whole life was about resisting the temptation of easy answers. He taught us that the healthiest societies, and honestly, the healthiest minds, are the ones that never stop being curious. So I'm going to end by turning his challenge back to you. What question will you keep alive?